Hi folks, welcome to Ditto Insurance. I'm Shashank and today we have a very interesting topic. Now, we keep telling you that buying an insurance is really important. Now, let's assume that you got your insurance and you didn't check one important segment. I'm not talking about the features, the benefits, I'm talking about what is excluded in your insurance policy. Now, there are a couple of exclusions, 23 to be exact, in insurance policies. And today I have with me Supreet, who will take us in depth through all the 23 exclusions list and will tell us what you can do to avoid all these exclusions for your future. Now, Supreet, welcome and let's get into it right away.
Glad to be here, Shashank, as always.
So, Supreet, this is going to be a very interesting video because you have literally trained me for the past 6, 7 months. And I went out and looked at all the policy documents of major insurers and I made a list of the exclusions and I could find 23 exclusions.
Good.
So, I will narrate each one of their names, the titles, and
Right.
why don't you tell me why are they excluded? Is that good?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So first is cosmetic and plastic surgery.
Right, Shashank. So, cosmetic surgeries are excluded in health insurance policies, right? Now, what insurers want to do is they want to cover for you only for medical emergencies. Some of the procedures, probably something like a rhinoplasty or let's say
Botox.
Botox, yes, some external removal of certain congenital conditions, right? Now, which is not impacting your health in any way, right? Even if you don't get these things done, it's not an emergency, right, in terms of health. So insurers usually exclude this. However, if some of the treatments, like say skin grafting, is recommended due to say burns, although it comes under the category of cosmetic surgeries, they are covered. But again, if it is because of burns or say cancer, right, any of these reasons, definitely certain cosmetic surgeries are covered. But in most cases, yes, they are excluded.
All right, got it. The second on the list is infertility and sterility treatments like IVF, ART, and sorts.
Right. I think on similar lines, right, even some of these procedures, uh, even if somebody doesn't get it done, it's not harming them, right? It's not like a life and death situation. And again, this is something, that would probably enhance their current way of living, but it's not like it's curing an illness, right? It's not an illness. So, having said that, again, probably in the policies that you have researched, this is under exclusions list. However, there are policies in the market where this can be covered. So if somebody is looking for certain treatments, I think we have discussed this in some of the earlier videos as well. There are policies which will cover them. Yeah, do get in touch with us for more details.
All right. The third one is obesity and weight management.
That seemed a bit personal.
Not at all.
Right. Some some surgeries like bariatric surgeries are excluded, but again, there's a bit of a thin line here. Now, let's say when I purchased the policy, I was healthy, right? And over a period of time, due to whatever reasons, hormonal imbalance, or it could be lifestyle or whatever, if the BMI reaches to a certain level where it could be life-threatening, then if the medical practitioner recommends to get the surgery done, or else probably chances of making is really slim. Probably insurers might cover it in certain insurances, but again, if it is just a weight reduction surgery, definitely not. Right now, I think should probably the better way is to probably
Work out?
yeah, work out or eat healthy, right?
So, what trend I'm seeing here is cosmetic surgeries or reproductive treatments or weight loss treatments. So, all these I'm seeing are lifestyle related elective procedures. So, the basic line here is if it does not impact you and your normal functioning of health, it's not covered by insurance.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Insurers want to cover you if there's an emergency kind of a situation. But yeah, if it is lifestyle related or if it is just going to make certain features look better, yeah, insurers do not want to pay for it.
The fourth and the fifth one, specific illness and waiting periods and pre-existing conditions. I think this is pretty much self-explanatory. Specific illnesses. Why don't you tell me? You're the guest.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have discussed this enough, so I
Yes.
think you are more than capable of explaining this yourself as well.
Right. A certain conditions, specific illnesses that fall under specific illnesses list are not covered for up until 2 years in some policies. Am I going
Yeah,
right?
yeah, perfect. Yes.
Yes. And hence, if you go in for these procedures during that 2 year period, then that's unfortunately not covered by insurance. And talking about waiting periods, there are three types of waiting periods.
Very good.
The initial 30 days waiting period, the specific illness waiting period that we just discussed, which is 0 to 2 years, and PD waiting period, which is 0 to 3 years. For that depends on different insurers. Did I get this right?
Perfect, Shashank. So if you can understand this, I think anybody can understand the policy features, I guess. So well done.
Thank you for
Yeah, that
getting
was
me up until here.
right. So yeah, just a small correction. For the pre-existing condition waiting period, the maximum is 3 years. Certain policies do have an option where you can reduce it to 2 years or 1 year. And certain policies by default may offer lesser waiting periods as well, very policy specific. And specific illness condition, yes, you're right, 2 years is what I've seen in many policies, most policies. Yeah, again, please go through that list. Right now, that list includes some of the frequently occurring treatments, some of them like cataract, treatment for kidney stones, glaucoma, hemorrhoids. There's a list of about 20-25 illnesses. Please remember these, and in the first 2 years, this will not be covered for.
All right. Yeah. Now, the fifth on the list is pre-existing conditions. I think similarly to what we spoke.
Right. Yeah. Just if I have to elaborate a bit more now, yeah, pre-existing. Now, what is a pre-existing condition? Right now, this is one common question that we always discuss. I mean, should I just mention previous 5 years, or should I go back since birth? So my suggestion is like declare everything. Declare everything that you feel is part of your medical history. For example, if you've taken medications for a certain type of treatment, you can exclude the regular flu and probably the one-off stomach upsets. Maybe you can exclude them. But yeah, if for a particular treatment you've been on certain medications or any small or major surgeries in the past, any kind of hospitalization history, could be for COVID or any other reasons, or even congenital diseases. Right now, certain conditions that you have it since birth. So all these conditions, very important to be declared at the time of purchase. At the make a note of this at the application and make sure that it is clearly mentioned in your proposal form, or in the policy document, right? So that tomorrow, if any insurer tries to reject a claim saying that, hey, you did not declare such and such thing, but you will always have evidence that on the policy document that, hey, I did declare it, so please just give my money back. So make sure that you follow all these steps for pre-existing conditions. Again, now there is no rule that you have to mention it in the last 5 or 10 years. You can go back as long as you can remember. So medical history since childbirth is what I would suggest you guys to mention it on the application.
Perfect. And examples of PEDs are your ABCD. So your asthma, your BP, your cholesterol, your diabetes. Did I remember that right?
Yeah, right. That's right. So these are some of the common ones. Of
Okay.
course, I mean, like I said, anything that you feel, I mean, don't feel that it's a minor condition, so let me not disclose it. Always disclose it. If it is a minor one, then the insurers, they do not have any problem, right? They'll just ignore it and issue the policy. But what if it is relevant, right? Now, so it's always better to declare everything, and yeah, let the insurers take a call whether they have to proceed with it or not.
Sure. The sixth one is a rather interesting one, maternity and pregnancy costs, which a lot of people have asked us in the YouTube comments as well.
Yeah.
Does this X plan cover maternity? Does it cover prenatal? Does it cover postnatal?
Right. Very interesting, because I think this will, I mean, it's probably a suggestion to make a video, a separate video, regarding plans which cover maternity and related costs. But if I have to tell you in brief, again, in most policies, maternity benefits are excluded, and then it's clearly mentioned in the policy document as well. Whereas in certain policies, yes, they get covered, but there are certain limits. Even the plans which cover maternity plans, they have limits, say up to 25K or 50K, depending on the policy or the cover amount. Again, why maternity related costs are excluded in a policy? Um, I mean, again, this again is not coming under the bracket of medical emergency, right? I mean, this is something that people usually plan, and they know that this there's a hospitalization coming up, there's a claim coming up, so insurers, they don't want to take that risk of covering it. However, again, even in the policies which do not cover maternity plans, if there is an ectopic pregnancy, and there's a hospitalization that's required because of that, policies do cover, because this comes under
Medical emergency situation.
emergency situation. Yes,
Got it.
that's right.
All right. Now, the seventh one, and I relate to this a lot, dental treatment, because I am slated for a surgery tomorrow for my wisdom teeth removal.
Yeah.
And I remember coming up to you and asking, will this be covered? And then you sadly said, no, this is an exclusion. So I did my good research on this. There's a reason why dental treatments are not covered, because it keeps happening, right? So and maybe that's why insurers don't want to cover that. Why don't you give us more on this?
Right. And yeah, glad to know you're becoming wise, Shashank. But yeah, sorry. On a serious note, yes, dental procedures, again, it comes under the purview of OPD, right? And if I can club both OPD and dental together, certain policies, yes, they have some small coverage for dental and OPD for minor things like say a filling or a root canal, nothing major. So these things do get covered in certain policies where dental coverages are there. But yeah, in most policies they excluded. It's not just because it's an OPD procedure. It's also, I mean, it's difficult for insurers to keep a tab on these things. So usually insurers, how the claims work, right? Now, usually insurers, they have a set of network hospitals, trusted hospitals through which they accept claims, or they have their businesses. What happens if I have to cover an OPD or a dental cover? Now I have to tie up with a lot of new or small businesses, right? Now, which again, operationally, it's not an easy task for insurers to make sure that they are trusted and there are no false billings happening, no inflated billings happening. So it will take a lot of effort, but the claim amounts are less. So sometimes insurers are better off not covering them. But yes, I do understand now, as a from a consumer point of view, I would be really happy if my policy covered everything, and not having to worry about whether this is covered or this is not covered. From the consumer point of view, I really hope that my policy covered everything, right, end to end. I wish there was a policy like that, which is where the company is really good, good settlement ratio, good features, covered dental, maternity, OPD, as less restrictions as possible. I wish, but maybe sometime in tomorrow. But for now, we still have to pick and choose what suits us the best, and out of all the options available. But if I want dental coverage, if I'm very specific about it, uh, yes, we do have certain policies, which will cover dental fair bit, probably up to 10,000 rupees per annum as well. So yeah, happy to recommend those policies.
All right. As you folks heard from Supreet that uh, there are no perfect plans in the market as such. There are different plans that cater to different needs. So if for your specific condition you need a plan and in your regional language, then we'll go to any efforts to find you the advisors from our advisors pool who can help you find the best plan, find a plan with the right benefits for you. For that, all you need to do is book a free consultation with us with the link in the description. Also, Supreet, one part about this dental treatment which I suddenly remembered when I was talking to Ajay that day was there is one situation where dental is covered. That is, if you have an accident and if you have to have a reconstruction of sorts, only then it is covered. Is that true?
That's right. So again, now this comes under again a medically necessary situation, right? Now, so if there's an accident and there's a reconstruction, jaw reconstruction that needs to be done, definitely the insurer will not say that, hey, dental coverage is not covered, so I'm not going to cover it. Anything that is harming you, uh, definitely that will be covered. Yeah.
Understood. Now, eighth one is also something that I relate. It's vision correction.
Okay.
Now I have astigmatism with minus 2.5 or 3
Right.
on both the eyes, and I researched a lot. And up until there's a certain figure, right? Up on
7.5.
7.5 diopters.
Yeah.
Until then, if my eyes don't get that bad, my vision correction is not covered. Is that
Correct.
right?
So usually LASIK or similar surgeries are excluded in a policy. But if, like you said, right, if the diopters are plus or minus 7.5 or more, comes under the bucket of now necessary correction, that necessary surgery that needs to be done. So yeah, there is a provision in your insurance policy to cover for them. But if it is less than 7.5, then it is considered as a cosmetic surgery and LASIKs are excluded. Again, however, there are a couple of policies that I've come across where LASIKs are covered. Although it comes under the cosmetic surgery, they do get covered in certain policies, again with waiting periods and with only small limits. But yeah, it is there, but in most 90 to 95% of the policies, they're not covered, yes.
Understood. Now, the ninth one is a rather interesting one. Home use medical equipments like crutches, hearing aids, prosthetics used at home.
Yeah.
So they are not covered?
They're not at all
Okay.
covered. So yeah, any equipment like hearing aids also, for example, right now, these type of equipments are not at all covered. During the hospitalization, if there are any pharmacy purchases, for example, medications, let's say gloves, PPE kits, right now, these kind of things are covered. Also, you have to make sure if consumables are covered in the policy as well, right?
Correct.
In some policies, they're covered by default. In some policies, you might have to choose as an add-on, and in some policies, they're completely excluded. So yeah, make that distinction. Recently, the last week itself, I came across a couple of claims where the consumables went to more than 25K, 25 to 30K just on the consumables bill.
Oh
And
my God. And
that
how much was the total bill?
I think it was about 2.5 lakh rupees. Yeah, that's close to 10%, right? And that's a big chunk. And the if you look at the cost of the add-on, it's probably would have been in the hundreds or maybe thousand or couple of thousand max that I've seen. Uh, so this is another suggestion that I want to make. Do consider the consumables add-on if at all you have that as an option. If there is a hospitalization, it is going to add a lot of value to you.
Understood. Now, the 10th one. Experimental or unproven treatments.
Right. I mean, no explanation required, right? I mean, insurers, again, they do not want to take the risk of covering anything and everything. So, only in registered hospitals and operations done by registered medical practitioners. And the procedures also, they are proven techniques and they are as per the standards. So, these specifications are really, really important. They do not take the risk of covering somebody who is being admitted to an unregistered or a blacklisted hospital where they can't verify whether a procedure was done with a good intent or there, I mean, we have seen cases where people have scammed the insurers, right? I mean, that's their biggest worry. They don't want to um, trust those sources, so they have certain exclusions. Again, registered hospitals, registered medical practitioners, proven techniques, and as per standards, Indian Medical Association, whatever standards they have, as per their procedures only, the insurers will cover.
Understood. 11th one is substance abuse treatments, that is rehabilitation for drug addiction, alcoholism, or any substance abuse. That's not covered.
That's not at all covered.
Okay.
Again, this is something that we are bringing it on ourselves, right? Whether it's alcohol consumption or substance abuse, and insurers, again, they don't want to cover it. So one more thing I would want to mention here is any illness related out of these as well. For example, alcoholic cirrhosis, which is something that we see very common these days. Uh, any liver conditions, if it is resulting out of excessive alcohol consumption, your insurance policy will not cover for it.
Is that true?
That's exactly right. So you should be really careful. I mean, stay healthy first of all. I mean, that's the main reason. Uh, but then also be aware that your health insurance is not going to cover for you if there's a hospitalization resulting out of this.
Understood. That was a nice disclaimer. Now, another is the 12th one, injuries from hazardous activities and adventure sports. Yeah. I was watching this movie, ZNMD. We even made a post on YouTube, community post on this. Stuff like skydiving and deep sea diving or running in front of bulls. So we did that in the context of term insurance, where if this is covered or not. Now, in terms of health insurance, if someone was engaged in these activities,
Right.
are they covered?
Yes and no. I'll
Okay.
tell you how when it is covered and when it is not. So if somebody is doing it as a hobby, right now once in a while when you're traveling, you're taking part in say river rafting or you get injured, these things are covered. But if you're a professional, so you have to make these declarations at the point of purchase, and most likely the policies may not get issued if you make those declarations. But let's say you end up buying a policy, but then you're a professional, let's say mountaineer, for example, right? Now, illnesses or say accidents resulting out of that is not covered. So if you're doing it as a hobby, yes, it gets covered, but as a professional, chances are that it may not get covered.
Understood. Now we are exactly in the middle
Right.
because 23, so half is 12. Wow, I see that there are a lot of exclusions. I thought this would be easy, but it's really a lot to recollect and keep in mind. So, folks, if you also are in the same mind zone as I am, then the best thing to do is to book a call with Ditto and speak to able advisors like Supreet himself, who will help you and take you through each and every document, each and every exclusion in detail. So, yeah, the link is in the description, guys.
Sure.
Now, the 13th one is congenital anomalies. So
Right.
I think that's something that is from birth.
That's right. Yes. Certain conditions like horseshoe kidney or let's say certain heart related conditions that are there since birth. Yes. Those things are not covered. Congenital conditions are excluded. And yeah, both internal and external. But sometimes external can be covered, depends on the policy document, depending on the nature of the illness. But yeah, generally, yeah, congenital conditions are excluded. That's correct.
Understood. The 14th one is a lot of people have asked this, self-inflicted injuries. So is that is that covered? I mean, I know it says it's not covered, but that's a medically, you know, emergency situation. So that should be covered, right?
It is, but then now insurers don't want to incentivize people in making bad decisions right now, just
Understood.
because uh, you know probably if I know that my insurance will not cover for certain things that I would bring it upon myself, then I would think twice before doing that, right?
Yeah.
So also again, it is not something that suddenly went bad with your body. It's not like something happened, but you're creating it on your own. So some of the examples like like slash the wrists or something on those lines, uh, not covered. Also, one more thing, like working out, gym, while you're working out in the gym and you're lifting weights and everything. So again, there's a bit of a gray area here. Always make sure that you're choosing weights as per the trainer's suggestion and not going to like over exhaust yourself, because I remember once a certain insurance company denying a claim for somebody who had an injury in the gym because as per the insurer he shouldn't have lifted so many kilos, but he
Okay.
ended up doing that and injured his back. But yeah, there's a difference between a good insurer and a bad insurer. Certain insurance companies probably might think little customer centric and they might pass the claim, but again, yeah, just be careful. But yeah, if there are accidents wherein you have no control or you have no role to play, then just happen to you. Of course, they are all covered. But yeah, self-inflicted is excluded.
Got it, Supreet. Now, the 15th one on the list is war and disaster related injuries. So, does that mean if you came in between some act of terrorism and you got injured, and then you had a bullet in you, went to the uh, hospital to get it removed, that would not be covered?
Right. See, now insurers now they try to cut down some risks as well. Right now, whenever there is a natural disaster like an earthquake or flood, there are a lot of people that are getting affected. And if let's say all of a sudden, if 1,000 people claim, and then they would probably have to end up spending a lot of money in one go, right? So they want to minimize the risk. I mean, I'm not really sure if that is customer centric, but yes, I mean all insurance policies they have this policy where natural disasters or exposure to say a radiation or a war like situation, right? These things are excluded. Yeah.
Got it. Now, also, if quick question: if I was a part of a gang and then I got into a gang fight, I'm not, I'm not. Assuming I'm part of a gang and I go in for a gang war, and if I am injured, even that's not covered.
Start cut for one or two reasons. Again, I mean, if you're part of a criminal activity, I don't know if it is there in one of the lists. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
If you're part of a criminal activity, you should think twice because most likely that your insurance policies will not cover you. Because again, this is not medical emergency. This is something that you're bringing it up on yourself.
Self-inflicted, yeah.
Self-inflicted, right? So, I mean, even otherwise, I suggest not to
Not to be a part of a gang.
any gang. Yeah, just
All right. The 16th is rather easy one. It's non-medical expenses, stuff like hospital registration fees, toiletries, consumables. We spoke about this, so I think we can move past this.
Yeah.
The 17th one is rather interesting. Hormone replacement therapy. So that's seen as an elective one. So that must not be covered as well.
Right. Again, similar lines, right? I mean, is it something that is life and death situation? Is it something that you can? I mean, would you lead a normal life without getting these things done? If the answer is yes, most likely the insurers are not going to cover it.
Okay. The 18th one is what we just spoke about,
Hmm.
being part of criminal activities.
Right.
So one line is don't be part of a gang.
Yeah, I mean any criminal activity,
Okay.
right? I mean insurance specific, whether it's your life insurance or health insurance. I mean they don't like criminals, so any injury caused or death caused because of if you are the reason of the criminal activity. I mean if you're a victim, yes, of course, it's you're covered. But if you're the reason, if you're part of it, you're uh, committing a crime, then yeah, insurance companies will have a good reason to not give you a claim. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the next one on the list is what we already spoke about, and we've spoken about this even before. Treatments in blacklisted hospitals are excluded because they are known to flout medical bills, inflate the bills as well. So yeah, I think that is pretty self-explanatory. Don't get treated in blacklisted
Yeah. So
hospitals.
also just to add to that, sorry, so every insurer will have a list of blacklisted hospitals on their websites. If you can't find them, ask for it. Usually, when they get the soft copy, the blacklisted hospitals are mentioned on the soft copy as well. So be aware of those hospitals in and around your area. Uh, and yeah, because see, it's difficult to research these things at the time of need, at the time of hospitalization. So you have to be knowing these things beforehand itself. So have a general idea which are those hospitals that you should never probably visit. Yeah, very important, right?
Right. The 20th one is from a YouTube comment that I picked up. So someone asked us if diagnostic treatments are covered. I mean, diagnostic expenses rather are covered.
Right.
So yeah, go on.
Yes, this is also an interesting topic. Now, during the hospitalization, if any tests needs to be done, or if it is part of any pre-hospitalization or post-hospitalization, they do get covered. But let's say if I just walk into a diagnostic center and let's say I want to get an X-ray done, right now, and then you show it to a doctor, the doctor say, hey, everything's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Yeah, just you don't have to worry about it, then I can't claim for this. So if it is just because I'm investigating and I need to make sure, just the tests are not covered. But let's say now, same example, if the doctor says that, okay, there's something wrong in your leg, so you need to get a surgery done, and then you get the surgery done, you claim for it, the surgery gets covered, then you can also get the charges of the X-ray covered as part of pre-hospitalization.
Now I get it. Now I get it. When they say that diagnostic is not covered at all, if there's no medical procedure,
Correct.
then it's not covered.
Right. But
Understood.
having said that, again, policies which cover OPD, sometimes may cover for diagnostic tests, just the tests as well.
But
Again,
again, there are policy specific.
yeah.
Okay. Now, we are on the 21st point, which is rest cure and rehabilitation. So, emotional support and hospital stays meant for rest, like
Right.
a retreat, they are not
Right.
covered.
Not covered, right? Yeah, especially when you consider Ayurvedic treatments right now. Sometimes they are recommended by a doctor to cure an illness, but sometimes you also come across people just using it for recreational. So yeah, let's just think of insurances this way, right? Now, hospitalizations are something that is majorly covered, which is done due to an emergency or some health related illness, right, or a disease. Anything extra, you need to please check whether they are covered in your particular policy. Now, coming to this particular point, yes, I mean, if it is, let's say, for example, Ayurvedic hospitalizations, they are covered if Ayush is covered in your policy. Um, but there are sometimes, people visit Ayurvedic centers just for rehabilitation, detoxing, and some recreational procedures. These things are not covered. So the distinction is pretty clear. If it is to fix something or to cure something or to treat something, then these things are covered. Anything more uh, is treated as something that is not necessary.
So, my spa is not covered, that's what you're saying.
Definitely not, Shashank.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now, the next one on the list is another interesting one, which is a gender reassignment surgery. So, that's not covered?
Do you think it is medically necessary?
I don't think so. I think it rises out of gender dysphoria. So, I don't think it is covered.
Again, I mean, many people can debate about it, whether it is necessary or not necessary, or what are the reasons for this happening. It does happen. I'm not denying that these kind of treatments don't happen, but insurers, they do not want to pay for it.
Okay. The last one, Supreet, on the list is preventive care, like vaccinations and routine health checkups. So, my COVID vaccine was not covered in my health insurance. So,
Vaccinations are usually excluded, yes, Aved. Sometimes animal bite vaccination can be included depending on the policy. I have seen that being covered. Again, when something to prevent, something like rabies,
rabies,
right,
yeah.
could be very necessary. So those things can be covered, again, policy specific, but mostly, yes, vaccinations are excluded. Preventive care, again, health checkup, but I beg to differ. Health checkup in some policies, or in fact, most policies that I have come across, they have an annual health checkup that is covered. But those are only preventive health checkup. But if something like an ultrasound or an investigative angiogram, for example, these kind of tests are not covered. So, yeah, again, just understand your policy and know what are the tests that are covered as part of your annual health checkup. And you do have certain limits in terms of number of tests or maybe in terms of amount. So know your limits and then, yeah, make use of those benefits as much as possible.
All right, Supreet. Now, I have completely exhausted my list, and
I
I
think I
think
think it is probably the first video where you have given more information than me. So good.
I mean, I have you to thank for in the past months giving me so much of information. Not only just me, but the audience here as well. We have a really active community out there, so
Yep.
it fills our heart with joy. Seeing our almost 25K subscribers family who are now knowledgeable about insurance. So thank you so much, Supreet, for
Welcome, Shashank. I
today's
think
session.
yeah, that's one of our goals as well, right? Not just to run an advisory platform where people can answer questions and we can give them policies. People who are looking for new policies, but also this is one thing that I think me and you and the team as well always wanted to do is educate people, make them more self-aware, and they know what kind of decisions to take at the time of need, right? So yeah, happy to be part of this. So I'll be waiting for your next call then.
Thank you, Supreet, so much for taking us through the list and explaining us in detail. So, folks, if you have come up until here, then you should really be interested in insurance or getting a policy for yourself. So, if it's the second thing, then let me tell you that you can have a free consultation with us with the link in the description, and we can help you choose the perfect policy. Now, that's it for this video, folks. I will see you in the next one. Happy insurance hunting.